Hi folks, Smokey here. As you know, I'm an Apple TV owner. It's my preferred method for streaming Netflix and other internet delivered content to my television, and heaven knows I use it for lots of other things too. We all tend to have a plethora of streaming devices these days between Apple TVs and Rokus and Chromecasts and even gaming consoles. PlayStations and Xboxes can deliver internet delivered content to your television. Well, Amazon has decided to join the fray. They've developed their own hardware to go alongside their line of Kindle e-readers and Fire tablets. Their entry into the set-top box market is the Fire TV. We're going to take a look at it today. This is the Fire TV's packaging. This is what will come in the box. Of course, Amazon will put a box in a larger box. So you'll remove this box from that box and you'll see it in all its glory. The packaging tells you that its primary selling point is the voice search feature. It's set for Dolby Stereo. It's got a quad-core Snapdragon processor with MIMO Wi-Fi radios in it, and it is capable of outputting 1080p high-def video. It comes preloaded with some of the more typical streaming service applications that you would find on other streaming service boxes. It also comes preloaded with Pandora, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio internet music apps. The Fire TV's selling point, however, is it will also play games developed by some of these developers, for which one would have to have the pictured here sold separately Fire TV game controller. I did not purchase one of those, however, I'm going to make do with my PlayStation for games. On the other side of the packaging, we see a listing of the hardware specs, the description of the processor, optical HDMI outputs, Dolby Digital Surround, what's included in the box. It tells you you will need an HDMI cable. Unlike Sony with the PlayStation 4, they do not give you an HDMI cable. But to be fair, Apple or Google with the Chromecast or Roku don't give you an HDMI cable either, so I guess that's only fair. So now that we've seen all around the packaging, let's cut inside this sucker and see what we've got. What's the best angle to try? Let's try right here. A little tab of tape, slit. And slide him out. And we get box branded with the Amazon logo on the side. Should be a pull tab right here. We just peel this, and well, I say we're going to peel it. There we go. Okay, here we go. Opened pretty quick that way, and there should be a slide. Right, yeah, there we go. And dun da da da. We get a device that looks remarkably like an Apple TV. This packaging does look remarkably like an Apple TV's packaging. The device is squared off, unlike the rounded corners of the Apple TV. Let's see, we've got some instructions of some sort. And what do you know? Much like an Apple TV, a remote buried diagonally in the bottom of the box. A little plastic sacky. See if we can easily open. Well, there we go. Packed in there fairly tightly. And here it comes. Has a nice textured feel to it. It's obviously plastic, but it's got a good grip texture to it. There's your voice control activation button, a click wheel, much like an Apple TV. There's your Bluetooth. This remote does work via Bluetooth instead of infrared, so that's not a blaster, but that's where the signal emits. It's a nice feeling little remote. We'll come back to that. Let's see what else is in the packaging here. We should have a power supply of some sort. If I can get this open. What do we have? There it is. Amazon branded wall plug. Coated in its own little plastic sleeve. somewhere. There we go. And we get the plastic off, and we see that this is also Amazon branded. It is a little 12-watt wall plug, fairly typical for these size devices. And they do provide you a couple of AA batteries for the remote, also Amazon branded. So I guess we'll install those next. Little tab here on the battery door of the remote. And the remote is constructed in such a way it's very obvious which way the batteries go. There's a you see a stud there upon which the batteries rest. It's a good quality manufactured feel. I don't know exactly what terminology to put to it, but it doesn't feel like a cheaply made product. We'll take a quick look at the included documentation before we open up the device itself, and we see a little setup stuff. Not that we really need that. No, we don't need this stuff. Let's go on to the device itself. This is the Fire TV. As I said, it looks similar in form to an Apple TV. It's wider and flatter and a little bit heavier, but the concept is about the same. As we can get all these little plastic sacks are very well glued. But here we got it in. Pull on that sucker. There we go. And Amazon branded, as all the other items in the packaging have been. A little glossy finish on the edges, a kind of a matte finish on the top and bottom, a little bit of a grip to it. Feels like it'll sit on a surface and hold fairly well, much also like the Apple TV. Plastic coating around the edges, which peels off with a little bit of effort. And we see on the back of the device the power port, HDMI port, optical audio jack. They're labeled sideways too. That's unusual. Ethernet and USB for external storage or input. And no other indications on the other three sides. Since I've been comparing it to the Apple TV, let's take a look at them side by side. As you see, they are similar in size. The Apple TV is a little bit narrower but thicker. They both have the similar glossy sides with kind of a grippy foot, so they'll hold their position on a surface. The ports on the back are aligned similarly. Of course, Apple TV does not have a USB port. And the Fire TV is a bit heavier. I don't know whether that's added weight on Amazon's part to give it a more sturdy feel, or whether the components themselves are that much heavier. I honestly don't know yet. Now, out in my great room, we have the device hooked up to power and wired via HDMI to my television. And while we're seeing the initial boot up animation, I'll go a little bit deeper into the specs. The processor in the Fire TV is a 1.7 gigahertz Snapdragon processor. There's no precise way to compare this with an Apple TV. The Apple TV's processor is a single-core A5. It's Apple's proprietary chip. Amazon claims that their device is 3 times faster. In looking at the two, since I've gotten the Fire TV, there's no discernible difference in the speed of apps loading or switching between them or boot up, shut down that I've seen. But I suppose as time goes by and more people get this device and use it and compare it to the Apple TV or the Roku or the Chromecast, we'll get a better idea of that. But back to the setup of the product. As you see, once power is initiated, it begins looking for the remote. When it finds it, as it just did here, you're cued to hit start. It will begin searching for your Wi-Fi network or available Wi-Fi networks. And then you can choose the one you'd prefer. In my case, mine. And then password, of course, which we'll zip through, and it will make a connection. And just like every other streaming internet connected device I seem to get, it will instantly begin an initial update. Now, once it does this update, of course, it will cycle the power and then install it, so we'll skip ahead to the reboot process. Once the power cycles, it will reboot and complete the installation process, make one last check for updates, and then begin a little introductory animation.
And welcome to your new Amazon Fire TV. We want to make sure that you get the most out of your new streaming media player. So we're going to take a quick tour together that will teach you all about your Fire TV. Fire TV lets you stream a huge amount of entertainment, and the Amazon Fire TV remote lets you access it all. With voice search, you can access the entertainment you love with just this remote and the sound of your voice. It's really pretty cool. Let's get started.
This animation runs for a few minutes, going through the streaming service applications and a demonstration of the search features, some other information, how to navigate through the menu, so we'll fast forward through the brunt of it. It also spends a little bit of time highlighting the gameplay features and how you can mirror it from, if you have a Kindle Fire tablet, how you can mirror from that to the device, much like iOS devices can do with Apple TV. It's pretty helpful, and of course it's accessible through the settings menu if you ever need to see it again. But the end of the video is the end of the setup process, so we will now finally boot to the beginning. The first thing you can do is, of course, set up your parental controls if that's necessary. And then we go to the main home screen. Using your remote, you can scroll from section to section. The user interface is very logical, pleasing to the eye. I think Apple could actually take a cue from Amazon in this respect. Down in the settings menu, you come over to My Account to sign in to your Amazon account to have access to whatever Amazon content you may have already purchased. If you are a Prime member and ordered this device from Amazon, you are automatically logged in. I don't know whether that's convenient or creepy, but it does save you a few seconds. And once you're in, you have access to, as I said, all the content you've previously purchased. It has recommendations for you based on your previous viewing. And since Amazon does know your viewing history, of your Amazon content, that is, they can take advantage of the 2 gigabytes of onboard memory of the Fire TV and actually preload some selections. You could be watching one thing, and using some algorithms, Amazon can assume what you may want to see next and already have some of that content loaded onto the device, so you can queue it right up when you move on to your next selection instead of waiting for it to buffer. As I mentioned earlier, the primary characteristic Amazon is pushing with this device to differentiate itself from similar products is its ability to play games. These are Android-based games, as the Fire TV runs a forked version of Android. And the games that are currently available for it are primarily the same games that you would be able to play on your Android smartphone. That may change in time. The games may become more complex with the quad-core processor on board this device. It is very possible that developers may be able to come up with more complex games. I did not get the controller. I'm a console gamer. What video gaming I don't do any smartphone games, so this feature did not appeal to me. But if you are involved in Amazon games, as you see here, you can sign into a Game Circle, I believe it's called. It's a similar thing to Apple's Game Center, and compare scores with other gamers online or those that you may know personally. Creating your account nickname and choosing a little avatar for your profile. Which one? That'll do. We'll take that. And once that's done, you are taken to the game section. Any games you would already have would be there in that top row, your games library. The Fire TV comes preloaded with Civ Zero, Minecraft, Walking Dead, some other titles are available. Amazon is partnering with other game developers and actually have bought a game developing studio themselves, so there will be more games coming in the future, and probably taking advantage of the hardware, more and more complex games. Apps, as I said earlier, a lot of the standard streaming apps you would find on other devices like this, Crackle, Netflix, Vivo, Vimeo, YouTube is available. I think these are the ones that are preloaded, although there does appear to be an installation process when you first access the apps. We'll start with Netflix. Everybody uses Netflix, and I'm no exception. Once it's installed, I guess we would be taken to our Netflix login screen. Yep, here we go. Here we go, member sign in. And from there you sign in, and and you'll be taken to the Netflix homepage where you can choose whatever selection you wish. And there's your one app loaded, and they're all similar to that in installation and function. Next, we'll take a look at the Fire TV's voice search feature. Coming up here to the top of the menu, the search button, you press the microphone button on your remote and you speak some search topics such as Star Trek. And it will find all related results to that topic, but only amongst Amazon's own content. It will not search for results in Netflix, Hulu, or any other type of service, so that they kind of got you there. If you use Amazon Cloud Photos on your smartphone or tablet to back up your photos, they are available via the Fire TV as well. You can access them here, show them off to friends, family, interested parties who may be in your living room at any given moment. So when all is said and done, and you've explored your device to your heart's content, any changes you might need to make, you do it down here in the settings menu to any of the sections you see here. With the final section, the systems settings section, would be you'd make changes to the Wi-Fi network you'd select, any audio options you might want to tweak, even resetting the device to its original settings if you want to start from scratch. In the end, the Fire TV is a very capable device, worth the $99 you'd pay for it. It's the same $99 you'd pay for a top-of-the-line Roku box or an Apple TV, cheaper than getting a PlayStation or an Xbox. Whether you should get one is largely dependent upon where you get your content. Those of us who are heavily invested in the Apple ecosystem with a large library of audio and video content from iTunes, we're better served with an Apple TV. If you get your video from Amazon Prime, you might be better suited with one of these devices. Does it deliver content any faster than the Apple TV? Well, specs-wise, the Fire TV might have an edge number-wise. There is the quad-core processor in the Fire TV. The Apple TV is a single-core processor. Apple is a little bit secretive about the exact numbers in their specifications, so it's kind of harder to quantify those things. The Fire TV is definitely more powerful than a Chromecast would be. The voice search function is certainly helpful, but is limited by its restriction to Amazon-only content. If you want to search for something Netflix, Hulu, Vudu, Vimeo, you're out of luck. Gaming-wise, your choices would be a little limited at the current time, but that may change as time goes by. However, if you're not a heavy gamer, if you're not deeply into console gaming, if you just want to play your Angry Birds or maybe a little racing game you have on your Android smartphone, the Fire TV is a very capable choice of bringing that to your television. When all is said and done, the Fire TV is an excellent device. It sits alongside other popular streaming options well, it holds its own, and you may find it to be a very logical choice for your home entertainment needs. If you do, you'll be happy with it. So that's it for this time. I hope you liked it, I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you found it helpful, hope it helps you make an informed decision. If you did like it, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up down below, maybe leave me a comment or two, subscribe, keep checking back, see what else I may be up to. Again, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road a ways.